Hey guys, you have to stay to the end of this video because at the end of this video, I'm gonna be giving you away a free gift. That's right, it's a gift and the cost is nothing but your time, which is actually something that is probably worth a lot. So thank you. Hope. Hope is how you survive a long distance relationship. And I don't like using the word survive, but some people actually think that that's what you're doing in a long distance relationship, that you're maybe just putting up with the time that it takes to actually meet the other person on the other end. So it's like, you know, he might be in another country or he might be in another city and it might be 6 months or a year till you see him again. And so you're actually surviving instead of thriving. So if you want to get through it, more than anything else, you need hope. But what I want to do is take this a little bit further, because I can say hope and we're like, what does hope mean? Like, what does it actually mean? You're not actually giving me a real answer. If you really want to survive or thrive in a long distance relationship, there are actually 3 elements that you need. And sure, you could have 2, but if you have all 3, both you and your partner, so not just you, because if you have it, sure, that's great. But if you both have it, that's a foundation for a really strong long distance relationship. So these 3 foundations are so important because just like in the engineering world, a building is actually, the strongest shape in engineering is a triangle or a truss. You need these 3 elements to create hope that you can trust. That was the best joke I've ever made. So the first element that you actually need in a long distance relationship, and this is actually one of the hardest, and often if I'm coaching someone, it's often the first question I ask is, you need to know what your outcome is. You have to have a clue of where you're actually going, like what direction you're going and what does it look like. Because a lot of us are too afraid, a lot of people are too afraid to actually admit what they want. And I want to ask you the question, and you have to write this down. You don't have to know how to get there. You don't have to know the elements, because that's actually, that comes next. But what you have to know is, you have to ask yourself, if I had 100% my way, how would I have my long distance relationship? If you had it 100% your way, and sure, you could say something like, well, I'd have us in the same city. And it's like, you know what, that's good, but this is the long distance. So what we'd probably do something like, you know, I'd make sure that we message each other every day, that we have a really loving connection, and that we both actually feel that we're heading in the same direction. So after this, you need to ask yourself, well, what would that give me? That would give you what? Trust, that would give you hope, that would give you love, that would give you admiration, because these are the elements, these are the things that we need to water the plant. If your long distance relationship is a plant, you might need these emotions. So generally we want an outcome to be a certain way, and we're often too afraid to admit it. So if even admitting it, even understanding it, and making sure that you and your partner align in the same way, that you both know where you're going, that is the first element to a long distance relationship. The second element is you need to know that the outcome is worth it. So you have to have the image in your head of what the outcome is, but that it's going to be worth the potential, you know, the potential loneliness, if you do feel lonely if that person isn't there, the potential just feeling, or sometimes even trusting that the other person is there, or are they even there? Do they even want to continue? You have to know that it's worth it. So in those rocky times, in those times where you really feel like you're going to question yourself or question them or question the love, that is when you pull through, because you know it's worth it. Think of it like a ship. If you have a ship, you need to know where you're going, because you can't just get in a ship and then just go, right, let's set sail. But ultimately, you also need to know that it's worth it, because you're like, all right, we're going to go to this island. It's going to have this treasure. It's going to be worth it. Now, the last thing is that you need to know that it's possible. And this is such an important one, because often we find ourselves thinking like, you know what, I really want this long distance relationship to work, but I don't believe in long distance relationships. I don't think that they're possible. You know, I've seen people turn around long distance relationships and make them work just out of that one belief, that they knew it was possible. They believed it so much that despite the odds, they made it happen. And this is why when I coach people, I work with people on their thoughts before their actions, because the thoughts actually create our actions and they create our world. So you need to know that it's actually possible. And if you're in this situation right now and you don't know if it's actually possible, what you need to do is go and try and find people find examples. Like, I can give you examples of people, not in a long distance relationship, but I can give you examples of people who got married from Tinder as just a really off thing. My brother, he had a long distance relationship for a while and now he's married. I'm gonna leave that in, fuck it. He'll watch it, he'll be like, oh shit. And it's like, if you have examples like this, then you can see that it actually is possible. And maybe you even can ask yourself, like, well, what did they do to make it happen? Because if they could do it, then maybe you can too. So as mentioned at the start of this video, I'm gonna give you away a free little gift. And this free gift is a little guide, which is 3 tips to an incredible relationship. If you have this on your phone, if you're ever feeling really down, or if you're just in a position where maybe you're starting to date or you're in a relationship already and you want to transform it, these are 3 amazing tips that you can actually apply to your relationships now. Also, this is not just romantic relationships, it's relationships in general. So I want you to just click on the description, somewhere in the description, and you'll be able to get that there. Thank you. Does that make sense?